Hello everybody, Bill Platt again with Bill Platt for Authors, and we're going to discuss a new topic today. If you're interested in what you hear within these videos, do click on the subscribe button down below so YouTube can notify you of new videos when they become available. If you would like to get on my mailing list, you can go to billplatt4authors.com and sign up to my list there. I do send out daily emails, and within a lot of those emails there's a lot of free training, so do check that out. So what I want to talk to you today about is the kind of a uh, back office of the book publishing business. And it's kind of funny that I even have to have this conversation. I was talking to one of my customers earlier today, and he had asked me a question. I'd answered it for him, and he was really thrilled with the answer I gave him. And then he just off the top of his head, he said, a couple years ago, I'd had a conversation with some guy on Facebook, and I recommended your materials to him, and he went to Amazon and said, well, I looked at his books, and they're not in the top 100 of Amazon, so I'm not going to listen to him, okay? And my customer kind of laughed and says, well, you don't realize that Amazon rankings aren't the only telltale of success in the book publishing business, because he sells most of his books from his own website. And I wanted to address that for briefly. There's a couple points I'd like to bring up with that, and you can take it or leave it as you will, and you can dismiss me if you will. And it doesn't really matter, because in the grand scheme of things, I've been doing this for 17 years. And in the last 17 years, I've sold over $2 million worth of products and services. Products, books, and services. So maybe I only did $500,000 in book sales, okay? But it's a lot more than probably what you've done, okay? And so the last I counted, which was in, I think, 2015, I had done $2 million in sales online in the previous 17 years. And so it's not like I'm just some moron out there telling you that I know what I'm doing. I actually do know what I'm doing. And I've made a conscious decision, and I discussed this in the introductory video for this channel. I made a conscious decision that I'm not going to sell all of my books from Amazon. And the reason is money. I'm greedy. Can you really blame me? You know, I've had bestsellers on Amazon, but the thing of it is, when I break it down, if I sell one of my books from Amazon, Amazon's going to dictate to me how much I can charge and how much they're willing to pay me accordingly. So if I sell my book on Amazon for $9.95, just say $10, then they're going to pay me 70% royalty on that book. So I'll make $7 for every $10 book sold. However, if I go to $10.50, then they're going to cut my commissions, my royalties in half. So I'll make roughly $3.75 if I sell it for $10.50. Okay? If I sell it for $17, they will let me keep 35% in the form of royalties. So it would be, let's see, do my math in my head here, right around $5.40 per book sold at a $17 product. And so if I want to charge more for my product than $10, more for my book than $10, then Amazon is going to cut my royalty percentage, and therefore make it harder for me to earn that money. So in some cases, I decide, and fortunately I have the option to decide. I've got the skill sets that enable me to sell it from my own website and make more money, okay? And I did a product in 2015, and the average sale price on that product was $21, okay? And then I had a $97 upsell in the sales funnel. Now, With Amazon, if somebody buys the front end product, there are no upsells. It's a one shot deal. I can go into Amazon, I can sell my book for $21, and they're going to pay me 35% royalty. So my $21 book, I will make roughly $7.40 for my $21 book. And I won't get the opportunity to do an upsell in the standard format that we do upsells. So the additional 220 sales at $97 are just gone. That's $22,000 I piss away by putting that product on Amazon. And so I make the decision based on my own skill sets, whether I sell it from my own website or whether I sell it from Amazon. In that particular case, I sold 2,400 copies at $21, and I sold 220 of the upsell at $97. So you do the math in your head, and let's see, it's somewhere in the range of $70,000 grossed on that book. But if I had taken, now I had affiliates, and I had PayPal fees, and that took away some of my gross. That took away some of my actual profits. And as it worked out, I was able to make 55% on the sale of every product sold. So we're talking about a $70,000 product, and I got to keep roughly $38,000. Okay? Now, if I'd taken that same book and put it over on Amazon and let Amazon do the selling for me, that would change the entire balance there. So with a $21 product, I would have been making about $7.50 per sale, and then I would have had the 2,400 sales, and that would have worked out to about $32,000, and I would have had no upsells. So one way pays me more money. If I sell it from my own website, I have the potential to make a whole lot more money than what I was able to make using Amazon. And I think those numbers, they're kind of rough. Those two numbers are really close. But when I actually sat down and did the mathematics on it, I did the mathematics on it about a year ago, and I don't remember. I'm getting old, and my brain's not as sharp as it once was. But I think it worked out that I would have made $27,000 selling on Amazon, and then I made like $37,000 to $40,000 by selling it on my own website. So if you do the math, if you look at the numbers in that perspective, $28,000 on Amazon or $37,000 on my own website, which makes more sense? Well, I sell it from my own website, of course. So there are some products I take, some books I take, and I will put them on my own website and sell them from my own website. And then there's some others that I'll take and put on Amazon and sell them from Amazon. And for me, it's not, I don't really care whether I'm a top 100 book on Amazon or not. What I care about is how much money I make doing this. And I make damn good money doing what I do. I make six figures a year, and I have for several years now. And over the last 17 years, I've sold over $2 million worth of products and services. Products, books, and services. So it's not like I'm pure amateur. The issue is I don't sell them on Amazon. Well, I don't have to, because I can buy my own domain. I can build my own sales pages. I can do all that fancy HTML to make it look good. I can tie it up with my payment processor. I can do the necessary setup in order to ensure that when somebody clicks the buy button, they're taken straight to PayPal. They make the purchase. They're returned to my website where they can take delivery on their product. Okay? I have the capability to do all that without needing to rely on Amazon. And the important thing is, even with all that skill set, to be able to get that from building the website to building the web page to building the payment and delivery system, there's one more factor that needs to play into it, and that's getting the traffic. You have to get people to look at your sales offer in order to sell it. Okay? And so I have the skill set where I can put 20,000 people on my sales page. So the question is, why do I need Amazon if I can do it myself, right? And there's a lot of cases where, now if it's within this particular genre over here, I can bring traffic all day long. I don't need Amazon to assist me in putting eyeballs on my sales page. However, there are other genres that I write where Amazon, I need their traffic, okay? So if I was writing something to do with dating, I don't have a built-in audience for dating. So if I were to write a dating book, I would put it over on Amazon and use their traffic sources to drive the sales of my book. And I've never done a dating product per se, but I did one time about how to, because at one time in a previous lifetime I worked as a PI, so I have a book out there that kind of instructs people, if you think your spouse is cheating on you, here's how to find out, okay? So that is on Amazon, but it's not under my name. It's under a pen name. And I do write a lot of books under pen names because there's a situation a few years ago and it forever changed me as far as how I promote my books online. And what had happened, I was doing informational articles to promote other products and services. And in the context of that, I wrote a lot of stuff about how to set up your website, how to make it, how to select your products, how to sell your products online, and how to promote yourself online. So I've got a whole history of articles along that subject line. I've got over 1,000 articles out there on tens of thousands of websites. If you just Google Bill Platt, you're going to come across a lot of stuff like that. Okay, and I'm a guy who has lots of interests. So at the time in 2004, I decided to write some stuff up on Oklahoma history because, well, it's just one of my private hobbies, right? So I wrote up a couple of articles on basically informing people on Oklahoma history, and it was basically for the history buffs out there. And somebody found it and sent me an email. And this woman told me, she says, now, Bill, I want you to understand, and I'm very serious about this. I pay attention to you because you teach me how to run my business online and make more money. However, if you send out another article about Oklahoma history, which I care zero about, then I will stop paying attention to you. And I took that as she was really actually serious. She could not, it's not so much that people cannot conceive that you have diverse interests. People are selfish. They want what they want, and they don't want what they don't want. Okay? So, from that day forward, if I ever changed my genre, I changed my pen name as well. So, Oklahoma history is never published by Bill Platt anymore. Period. I've got a couple pen names that handle that for me. If I write about how to catch your spouse cheating on you, that's written under a pen name. If I write about how to just make extra money doing crap around the house, that's under a pen name. If I write about UFO history, that's under a pen name. Okay? So before I started doing books, I'd already racked up something like 36 pen names. And on Amazon currently I have over 20 pen names. And what that boils down to is the only thing that you're going to see under the name of Bill Platt on Amazon, if you go looking for it, is stuff for book authors. Period. End of story. I put my information for book authors. If I put it on Amazon at all, it's only about book authors, helping book authors. And some of my books will be in Kindle format, and some of them will be in print. I have a couple that I plan on putting on stuff that I sold from my own website as a PDF and made considerable money with it. And I plan on putting those on Amazon eventually. And when I put them on Amazon, they will be in print format and not in Kindle format. And one of them very particularly will only be in print format because within the document itself, it was like I think a 70-page PDF. And when I was writing it, I wanted to refer back to other sections of the book. So to further emphasize my point, I said, as I mentioned on page 7 of this guide, and as I said on page 22, now something like that, I'd have to completely rewrite it to put it in Kindle format. It's only going to be published as a print book. But I haven't published it on Amazon yet as a print book. And I've got several of them that are in PDF from my website only and not yet available on Amazon in print or digital format. But I do need to do that because people are always writing me and telling me, I love that book so much, I wish you would publish it as a print book on Amazon so I can buy it. So I've got an audience ready to go. I just have to take the book and put it over there, and I haven't done that yet. And so this is where I look at myself and say, damn, you're lazy. You've got people ready to buy books from you, but you are not actually taking the time to publish some of your PDF books on Amazon. Shame on you, Bill. Okay? So here's the deal. You can't look at Amazon to determine the value of something somebody says. Amazon, and there's more to it than how many pen names I use. And there's more to it than whether I sell my products on my own website or whether I sell them on Amazon. There's actually more to it. Because the way it breaks down is your Amazon sales rank is a snapshot in time. I have a book that reached number 444 in the Amazon Kindle paid store. It was one of the top 500 books in the world on that day. Now that's pretty awesome for a book that's only written for book authors. Because that means, because it's only written for book authors, 95% of the world doesn't care that it even exists. They don't care. They don't want a copy. I'm never going to be top 100 on Amazon as long as I'm writing non-fiction training guides for book authors. Period. Now that particular book did extraordinarily well. I got in Amazon Top 500 on Amazon.com, Top 100 on Amazon.ca, Top 200 in Amazon.co.au, right? Top 500 in Amazon.co.mx. I was literally top of my category in every country in the world where Amazon has a store, because I know how to market my products. I know how to market my books. Now, you can look at me and say, well, he doesn't have a top 500 book anymore. His book isn't doing real well right now. Well, I haven't promoted it in a year. Of course it's not doing real well right now. And it's a really small marketplace. Okay? Book rankings are a snapshot in time. If you'd gone back to October of 2015, you would have been blown away that I had a book in the top 500, particularly on the topic that book was written. It would just blown you away. However, 2 years down the road, and almost no promotion since, it's only rated in the top 500,000 right now. That doesn't mean that that book was never good enough to be a bestseller, because it was a bestseller. Okay? That book rocketed up Amazon charts. And during its lifespan, that book is ranked really, really well. Today it's not. And I don't think that's a bad thing, because I understand the marketplace. I understand when I'm talking to book authors, there's maybe 50,000 or 100,000 book authors worldwide. And if I've sold, as I have, over 3,000 copies of that book, that's like a 3% market penetration, right? Or maybe even a 6% market penetration. So that is actually really good. Frickin' Harry Potter made J.K. Rowling's a household name and billionaire. Has she hit 3% market penetration yet? I don't think so. There are still people out there in the world who've never seen or read Harry Potter. I'm guilty of that. I've never read her books. And I've only seen 2 of the movies. Okay? But it's not my cup of tea. Right? The only reason I saw 2 movies is I agreed to take my wife to see the movie for her birthday. So she has seen every single movie. I've seen 2. She's read every single book. I've read 0. There are people in the world who have not read Harry Potter. There are people in the world who have not seen all of the Harry Potter movies. I'm one of them. Percy Jackson. I saw the first movie. I don't know if there's more. There's more books. I know there's more books. I sort of think there's a second movie, but I'm not real sure. Because I'm not a pop culture guy. I don't watch pop culture. I haven't... You think of a movie that you thought was awesome? I probably have not seen it. I'm going to put you on pause real quick. Train coming. Here at my temporary office, I'm like a block from the railroad tracks, and the trains come through several times a day. 8 or 10 times a day, actually. Actually, probably more than that, because about every hour trains come through, and I don't like being recording while they're blowing their horn, because it's really loud. So, if you name any popular movie, chances are I haven't seen it. It's not my cup of tea. And the reality is, if you go back, I did a coloring book training for authors, book authors, here a few years ago, and that genre is made popular by Johanna Basford. Now, her book, The Secret Garden, An Inky Treasure, was like top 10, top 20 on Amazon for a long, long time. However, I looked, I think about 2 weeks ago, it's ranked like 400 in Amazon. Now, if you were to go in today, if you had never heard of that book before, and you would go in today and you would see, oh, it's only ranked 400 in Amazon, then you would miss the big picture. Because her books, she sold over 17 million copies of her books. Today's snapshot on Amazon sales rank doesn't tell you a damn thing about the history of her book. Yeah, she's not top 100 today. Who cares? It was top 100. It was top 20 for the longest time. Even the people that I know who do fiction, who top the charts. One of my lady friends, her book is a gag gift that people buy for Christmas every year. Right now, her book's ranked like 20,000. But she doesn't worry about that. You know why? Here in about 6 weeks, she's going to be top 100. And it happens year after year after year after year. She made $100,000 last December on that book. Just in 1 month. So, what her ranking is today doesn't give you any indication about her skill set to sell books. My other lady friend who does the Cozy Mysteries, she's been number 1 on Amazon. She's been top 10 in Amazon. And a lot of those books that were number 1 and top 10 in Amazon at one point in time are now ranked in the 50,000s. Whatever its rank is today does not indicate the history of that particular book. At one time, that book made her a ton of money. She is my probably 3rd richest friend who works as a full-time author. And the kind of money she brings in every month would make your head explode. I often talked about her. It's really funny because she and I came from the same basic roots. And when she first started writing novels, she started seeing some success. And it took her about a year to get up to $10,000 a month, okay? And when she hit $10,000 a month, I always have this conversation with her, and I'm like, well, so what are you doing with all your newfound wealth? Well, I'm shoving it all in the bank. This gravy train's not going to last, she says. We have the conversation 6 months later, and she's making $15,000 a month. So what are you doing with all your new winnings? I'm shoving it all into the bank. This gravy train is going to end just any day now. That was like 4 years ago. Finally, after 2 or 3 years, she had paid off the cars, and she paid off the house, and she told her husband he could quit his job, and finally she bought something for herself. And she got a lake house. And the funniest story I think she told me, and it may not be as funny when I tell you, but it's funny to me, so give me this. Her husband said, they've got a lake house down. Her husband says, I'd like to get a boat so I could go fishing out on the lake. And she's like, well, let me come with you. And she told me that the reason she decided to go with him was she didn't want him getting some John boat. Because she wanted to go out onto the lake too. So when they left the thing, her thought was to get something a little bit bigger than a John boat. So she wouldn't, if she stood up in the boat, she wouldn't tip the boat or something, right? And 3 hours later, they came back with the biggest houseboat on the lake. And I thought that was really funny because she's a tightwad like I am. She makes damn good money. She makes more money than I make. A lot more money than I make. And I do well. But she's such a tight ass like I am, and she doesn't want to spend her money. And she keeps thinking that this Amazon thing, it's just a fad and it's going to go away. So now she's sitting on a big pile of cash over here because she thinks this crap's just going to end any day now. But I think 4 or 5 years down the road, she's come to realize it's not a fad, and she's not getting lucky, and she's not getting something over on somebody. But here's the important thing. When she launches a book, it hits top 100 Amazon religiously. And she's got 50 or 60 books now. She can't be the only one in the top 100. Every once in a while she might have 1 or 2 books in the top 100. But sales kind of trail off over time. So the lifetime value of a book is actually pretty short. Unless you're Johanna Basford, who just, I would say she got lucky, but it wasn't luck. It really wasn't luck. If you go back and look at what she did to become successful, it wasn't luck. There's no luck involved in the process. We can create our own reality here. What she did was she synchronized the title of her book with the exploding fad over here. So every news story that went out that talked about coloring for adults, her book was part of the story. And that's why she sold 17 million copies of her books. Because people equate the entire genre of coloring books for adults with her book. So every time somebody talks about it, they're like, and all this started because Johanna Basford's The Secret Garden. And then they give like 2 paragraphs in each story talking about the wonders of her book. So every person who reads about this new trend sweeping the world, and it really is a worldwide trend for coloring books for adults, every time somebody initiates themselves into that world, they hear about Johanna Basford and The Secret Garden. So her sales were pretty much set in stone going forward. She's top 400 in Amazon right now. At one time, she was writing in the top 20 almost on a daily basis. She was selling 2,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 copies of her books a day. Now the book is spread through the world. She sold 17 million copies of her books, right? Now, she's pretty much exhausted the number of people who are going to buy The Secret Garden, and as such, her book sales have dropped down to a few hundred copies a day. But if you look at her sales today, her sales ranking today in the top 500 of Amazon, you know nothing about the history of that book, which is the same with my best-selling book. If you look at my sales ranking today, you don't know anything about the history of that book. You have no idea that it was once a top 500 book on Amazon. You have no idea that it was top of category, every single one of its categories, in every single Amazon country in the world for a week. You have no way of knowing that. There's a lifetime value that goes with these books. Now, some books have staying power. Most books do not, okay? So, my lady friend with the gag gift, from November to January, she sells 90% of her books. Then from February to October, she's got barely a trickle of sales coming in. If you look at her sales rank in May, you're going to be like, she's not very successful, is she? Her sales rank don't tell you nothing about how much her book is actually making. My Lady with the Cozy Mysteries. She hits top 100. But after everybody rushed in and bought it, who's left to buy it? So it starts falling off. Every book ever written has the same thing happen to it. Okay? There are few examples of truly lifetime books. How to Win Friends and Influence People. Great example. It's been selling. It's been in Amazon Top 500 as long as there's been Amazon. It's been in the top 500 worldwide since the damn thing was written in the 1930s. Okay? There are certain books that have that kind of staying power. The Magic of Thinking Big is another great example. The Holy Bible is another great example. These are books that are going to continue to sell until the end of time. Right? However, not every book can be a perennial bestseller. A lot of books have their moment in the spotlight and then fade away. Even Stephen King is my favorite author. So if you look back at some of Stephen King's books, he was New York Times bestseller on a lot of those books. But if you go back and look at Carrie today, where's it at in the rankings? What, 200,000? That doesn't tell you how successful the book was. It tells you how many copies it's selling today. If you go back and look at it is probably up in the charts. I don't know if that new movie is related to the Stephen King's version of it or not. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm not a pop culture guy. Told you. Right? But if you go back and look at some of his great books, the greatest books he's ever written, that made him a multi-millionaire, a lot of those books aren't in the top of Amazon today. So you can't go in and look at somebody's books and say, oh, well, he obviously doesn't know what he's talking about because his book sales suck. Really? It just doesn't connect with my brain that people can think that way. You do not know the history of a book by looking at its sales ranking today, period. Okay? Now, you can look at that and say, well, Bill, it's true. You teach people how to market their books, and obviously you're not marketing your own books. Well, I've got a limited amount of time in the day, and I move on to the next project. My goal here is not to impress you with my Amazon sales ranking. My goal here is to make money. I do very well for myself, thank you very much. But I make my money by understanding the fluctuations in the marketplace. When I release a book and I can blow out 2 and 3 and 4 and 5,000 copies of the book from my own website, that's awesome. Right? If I were to put the same book on Amazon and give up probably 20-30% of my royalties, I can do that. I can put books on Amazon and let them cut my throat. I can do that if I wanted to. And most days I choose not to. Okay? So I sell it from my own website. And then when it's run its course through my own website, then I'll convert it and move it over to Amazon. And then it'll be extra sales down the road. Right now I'm making money with it on my own website. But there's going to come a day when I decide, okay, this book I've pretty much exhausted what I can do from my own website. Let me put it over on Amazon to reach new audiences. Okay? Does that make sense? So for me, it's a money thing. I'm greedy. Can't blame me, really, can you? Really? So I want to make as much money as possible from what I create. And the way I market my books reflects that. 90% of the books I write are sold from my own website first. unless it's in a genre where I can't dump a whole lot of traffic onto the book. But if I publish it from my own website, I'm going to blow 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people through that sales page, and I'm going to make my money. It's not uncommon to have books that generate $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. It really isn't. And then once they have exhausted their potential through the channels I can bring to it, the traffic I can bring to it, then I'll put it over on Amazon and take the cut and pay, and then gain access to their traffic. So when somebody comes along and looks at my sales ranking in Amazon and says, well, that proves he doesn't know what he's talking about. That's just hogwash. I know exactly what I'm talking about. And it would do you well to listen. I can teach you a lot. But I will tell you, and I'm being as straightforward as I can, I'm in it to make money. I'm not in it to impress you. Okay? I don't need to impress those people who think that if my books aren't top 1,000 in Amazon, then I'm no good. Screw them. Don't need them. Okay? The whole thing is, if they are shooting themselves in the foot, even if they went and found their favorite teacher, and this came up a couple days ago. I was in a forum inside of Facebook, a Facebook group, and I was talking to this guy, and he'd asked a question. I'd answered the question, and then a drunk came stumbling through the thread a few days later and was like, don't listen to this Bill Platt character. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Click here and watch this guy over on YouTube. Okay, well, you don't know me, so you don't know, right? You don't know whether I have any talent. You don't know if I know what I'm talking about. So yeah, go over and watch this other guy on YouTube. Now, I went over and watched the other guy on the YouTube. And although he's prolific in his video creation, and although he does teach good things, he wouldn't be the person I would send somebody to pay attention. It's when you find people like me or him on the YouTube, some of our stuff is going to be really good. Some of it's going to be really crappy. And hopefully I can avoid the crappy thing, you know. My biggest problem is I talk too much. So I shoot long videos, which most people don't have the attentiveness to sit through a 43-minute video, right? That's where I'm at right now, 43 minutes. So I'm going to try to wrap this up really quick. But the thing of it is, he's got, that other guy, that other YouTuber, has some valuable things to share. But he comes, in my mind, comes from a limited mindset. He has never sold anything from his own website. He only knows selling from Amazon. Now, that makes him good for selling from Amazon, but he could be making a lot more if he sold some stuff from his own website, right? I'm in it to make money. I'm not going to shit you. I'm in it to make money. I make decent money. I make good money. I've sold over $2 million worth of products and services online since 2001. I learned the hard way. Throw stuff against the wall and see if it sticks. If it doesn't stick, go try something else. Throw that against the wall and see what sticks. And in the process, you learn what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and how to avoid the mistakes you made before, and how to do the right thing more often. Okay? And honestly, simply throwing something against the wall and seeing if it sticks isn't enough. Because I'm a nerd. I'm a marketing nerd. I want to know. So, I'll throw it against the wall, and if it doesn't stick, I'll take it and reform it and throw it against the wall again. If it doesn't stick, I'll take it down, reform it again, and throw it against the wall again. And what I'm trying to do is figure out, is it the approach, or is it the details that screwed me up? And sometimes it works out where if I just change one slight detail and then throw it against the wall again, it'll work. Okay? So I don't have to start over from scratch. I just make tweaks and modifications and do it again. And it works. And then I learn something in the process. So my overall point with this is there's so many factors involved in the entire thing that you really cannot judge somebody by their Amazon sales rank. You can go through there, and I honestly believe that these people who do that, the people who think that way, they are doing it because they're looking for an excuse to dismiss somebody. So we can dismiss Bill Platt if we look at this part here and look at his snapshot for today, his sales for today. If his sales today suck, then he sucks, right? So we can ignore Bill Platt and go and listen to somebody else who might be in the top 100 today, but might have less knowledge, right? You don't know how many books I've got out there. You don't know how many books I've written. You don't know how many pen names I write under. You don't know what my pen names are because I don't share that. Okay? You have no idea if I'm making good money over here with a product written under a pen name because I'm not going to talk to you about that. I'm talking about the lessons I've learned along the way and showing you how you can apply that to your own publishing business. If you don't like my approach, bye. If you don't like me, bye. I don't care. Those who want to learn from me will learn from me, and those who don't want to learn from me can piss off. Don't care. I do not live and breathe on praise from other people. I do not live and breathe on whether I'm top 100 in Amazon today. I don't care. I'm in it to make money. And as long as I'm making money, I'm happy. And if I can sell it from my own website and make more money, I'm going to do that. I do not feel that I have to keep myself under the thumb of Amazon in order to make my living as a writer. Amazon is just a platform where I sell some of my stuff. It's not God. Bezos is the third richest man on the planet. But he's looking out for Bezos. He's not looking out for us. He will sell our books and pay us money, our book royalties, but he's dictating to us what price we can put on our books. Because if it's under $3, he's going to pay us 35% royalty. If it's over $10, he's going to pay us 35% royalty. He wants us to price our books between $3 and $10. And frankly, some of my books are better than that. Some of my books are worth a whole lot more than $10. Okay? And the people who appreciate me don't have any issue with paying more than $10 for my books. And they'll buy it from my own website, allowing me to keep up to 95% of the money earned. Right? The people who love me are willing to pay me to keep doing what I do. And I don't need Bezos to tell me that I'm charging too much money. Bezos can kiss my ass. And for you, it's important for you to know if you're throwing all into Amazon, that's fine. I'm not criticizing you whatsoever for doing that. I'm just letting you know that what works off of Amazon also works on Amazon. I'm letting you know that there is a certain process that we should undertake with all of our books if we want to make more money from our books. We have to create desire to own our books. And if we can create desire in the world, we can get the attention of more people, and we can create desire to own our products, you will make more money too. Now, my lady friend who does the Cozy Mysteries, she makes a lot of money from Amazon, but she doesn't rely on Amazon. She's got her books available in several different platforms. My lady friend who has the gag gift every year, she makes most of her money from Amazon. But you know what? She doesn't rely on Amazon. She's got her books available in several different platforms. I'm the same way. When you're looking at your Amazon sales rank, that only tells you how much you're selling on Amazon. It doesn't tell you anything about what you're selling somewhere else. Right? So you can't run over to Amazon and say, oh, Bill Platt's book is not ranked so well, so therefore he's full of crap. Well, you could, and that's your choice. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. BillPlattForAuthors.com to sign up for my mailing list. Click down below to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I'm going to keep bringing you videos because I'm stubborn like that. I got a lot to share. A couple of my friends keep telling me over and over and over and over, Bill, every time I talk to you I learn something. Can you do a brain dump before you die? And I've been trying to do a brain dump for a year. And now I'm doing it on YouTube. Okay? So, have a great day, everyone.